My guest today, Bitcoin Kimmer, well, formerly Bitcoin Kimmer on Twitter. What's your handle now?
Lady Bitcoin.
Lady Bitcoin.
Yes.
Now, a little background. Kim and I met 4 years ago, roughly, on a Bitcoin story.
Yes.
It was the first I had heard about it. We were doing a story. Do you remember? It was an ATM.
Yes, it was a Bitcoin ATM. It was a Coin Vault Bitcoin ATM.
And where is that ATM now?
George R. Brown.
Okay.
Yeah, it's at George R. Brown now, and it's 24 hours. It's kind of in the lobby of a parking garage, so you can access it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
So cool.
Yeah.
It's amazing what's happened in 4 years. Not to give everybody a history lesson, but there are so many new people that are excited now that even back then they were like, what is this? We don't even care. And 4 years later, the only reason they care now is because of what's happened in the financial world, I think. Anytime something has the value and the increase in value that it's had, it starts to get people's attention. Maybe not for the right reasons, but nonetheless, the attention is there. So what do you make of what's happened since 4 years ago?
Oh, I think it's great. I think it's becoming more mainstream. More people are interested in it. I think it's I have more people asking me about it, friends, family, what's this Bitcoin? And I'm really excited to see more people interested in it because it's going to grow. It's going to continue to grow the more people are looking at it. So
what do you tell people when they ask you?
I tell them the simplest form. It's another form of currency that you can use to buy goods and services. Yeah. So if you wanted to, you could buy a Bitcoin, and they have these Bitcoin debit cards you can use. So you can go anywhere that accepts a debit card and just swipe it, and it'll come directly out of your Bitcoin wallet. So I really like the idea that you can use it almost anywhere.
So being part of the community, obviously you encourage people to use Bitcoin. So you're biased for Bitcoin, but that's cool because this is what do you love about it? Why are you on the Bitcoin team, so to speak?
On the Bitcoin team, just for me, when I started, it was something new, and I was looking for something new and different. But what I really like about it is how it's decentralized. Like, the big banks don't own it, the government doesn't. You have control of your Bitcoin. So that, as I got more and more into the community, that's really what's grabbed me and has kept me going in it. Specifically, yeah.
That's the big selling point for you.
Yes.
So I think for some people, I think for some people, they don't understand what the blockchain is, what the underlying technology is, and they're purely looking at it from a speculation standpoint, from an investment. And that's where I think sort of that greed kind of line falls in there. Because if you don't understand the blockchain, you don't believe in the blockchain or the crypto or the decentralization, then why are you even in it? Do you know what I mean?
I can see that. I can see that. But also, I mean, for me personally, I'm not a techie. I'm not a computer geek. I even, at some level, don't understand all of those things. But just for people who are looking at it, it's, like I said, it's something new. I mean, we're in the technology age, and this is online currency. So it almost fits where we're at today, you know? So you don't have to understand any of that or believe any of that, but you can still become a part of it. That's what I like about it. It's really
and in that sense, it can be a currency for everybody, a store of value for everybody, because maybe the analogy is true. It's like, okay, well, we didn't understand how servers worked or how websites work, but it didn't stop anybody from using them, right? Because I mean, otherwise, how would Amazon be what it is today, right? Or Google or any number of things.
Correct.
So kind of the same thing. You look at it. So do you see it as a gamble then, in that sense?
It can be. I mean, just with anything, really, it's going to be a gamble. I mean, when you put your money in a bank, it's a gamble because you don't know if the bank could get robbed. The bank could go under because it's being mismanaged. So, yeah, I would say just like most anything else, it can be a gamble.
Yeah. What about altcoins? Because there's one, and just full disclosure, I own a little bit of Bitcoin and probably 40-something coins. I have a little bit of 40 coins. And this all started with the story you and I did 4 years ago, because I left that. You guys tried to get me to buy Bitcoin. You tried to get me to buy Bitcoin from the ATM. And I remember standing there going, I don't know what this is. I don't get it. And I'm not going to do it because I'm not comfortable.
Okay.
But what I did after that story is I went home and I started doing research, and I figured out, okay, this is what blockchain is. This is what it does. This is why people are very excited.
Yes.
And then I started to, so I buy a little bit here, I buy a little bit there. I started saving it. And then I started realizing there are other people making coins.
Yes.
And maybe Bitcoin, yeah, it's cool and it's the first thing, but maybe there are improvements that can be made on Bitcoin. So I started looking around for other options, and that's when I started finding altcoins.
Okay.
Dark coin that is now
Yeah.
Dash, that we turned around this summer, and you're like, it went from pennies at 4 years ago
Yeah.
to hundreds of dollars. And back then I didn't think of this as an investment. This was purely a gamble in the sense that maybe there's something there.
Yes.
So anyway, I digress. Back to altcoins. What do you think about that? Are you in any other coins other than Bitcoin?
Yes, I am. I dabble a little bit like Ethereum, because that's kind of almost like Bitcoin 2.0, as a lot of people see it. Litecoin as well. I mean, that's been around almost as long as Bitcoin has. And so with a lot of the new coins coming out, I just kind of keep an eye on it, because there's so many coins coming out. You don't know what these people are really trying to do with them. So generally speaking, I kind of just watch the market and just kind of watch and see these coins come in and out. You know, I'm obviously discussing with other people what their thoughts are, but I like the idea that people are looking at new ways of creating money, really, and just, and I think that there are a lot of smart people out there that are doing some really wonderful things, even with these altcoins. I mean, the gentleman that, the Ethereum especially, what a great idea. I can't tell you any of the technology behind it, but I know that it's doing well, and people see it as a good investment.
Yeah.
Some other coins, maybe not as much.
Well, we've seen people, frankly, introduce a coin, take the money, and run.
Yeah.
And when you're backgrounding people, I mean, well, is everybody going to do the same research? I mean, you can go and look at any website on a coin. You'll find a white paper, which basically is just what they believe or what they're saying is going to happen or what their vision is. And then you can go and look at the team. And then you find every now and then someone will go, hey, I'm going to go look at LinkedIn and look at Facebook. And you start finding out, like, wow, these people don't even actually exist.
Yeah.
Or, these resumes are not real. And if you don't do your due diligence, it's very easy to fall into basically a scam or a trap.
Yes.
Which is why the SEC is getting involved. What do you think about regulation as with regard to coins and if at all, it's a tough one.
It's a really tough one, because a lot of, different government entities see like Bitcoin, let's bring up Bitcoin, differently. Some see it as a currency, some see it as a property. Even in the government, they're not really sure what to do with it or how to even classify it. So, and when it comes to the other altcoins, especially for somebody new, it's probably just to start with Bitcoin and then maybe dabble a little bit, but there's so many altcoins out there. It's really hard to do your due diligence on all of them.
Yeah.
So
what about your strategy now? Talk a little bit about, are you still investing in Bitcoin? Did you get to a point where you're like, all right, that's enough of my portfolio, or I've got enough saved? What's your strategy?
No, I definitely still invest in Bitcoin. I mean, just a little bit here and there, because what I like about Bitcoin is you don't have to buy a full one. Like, you can buy $10 worth. If I have an extra $50 worth, I'll buy Bitcoin. So, but yeah, I definitely keep investing here and there, because I see the long-term growth with Bitcoin, so I definitely want to keep investing. And like any stock market, definitely when it's lower than it, like right about now, it's a little bit low. So now for me, I think it'd be a great time to start buying. And so, but yeah, I just invest. I tend to just invest a little, and my main strategy is to hold on to it, because I just see long-term growth, and I see it growing continuously throughout the years, even with the ebbs and flows. The ebbs and flows get,
So what kinds, because I know you've used it for regular purchases, you've talked about paying bills, taking flights. Are there any purchases this year you plan to make on Bitcoin? Or now with the value where it is, are you a little less likely to spend it?
Nowadays, yes, I'm a little less, ready to spend it. But if I need to, I will. I mean, it just depends on where I'm at. And it's nice to know that it's there. Like if I need it, like if I need a new car, I know that I have something saved up that I could use to, buy a new car. But the other thing I do want to point out is to use Bitcoin to pay for things like groceries or pay your bills, you have to have like a Bitcoin debit card that you can use to withdraw it out of your Bitcoin account. Otherwise, you have to transfer it to your regular bank and then go from there. So, but there's a lot more businesses that are more readily accepting Bitcoin, which is nice. But yeah, if I needed to, I would definitely use it. if I needed to pay my electric bill, I would use it, whatever.
Use it in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
And you can, because they make it that easy now with a debit card. And
yeah, they're making it a lot easier to use anywhere.
I bought the first thing that I ever bought with Bitcoin was an album, an LP, wax, old school, not a 12-inch. I think it was a 7-inch.
Oh, wow.
And it was in some indie rock band I'd never heard of. And actually, I can't remember their name now. This is embarrassing. But they're out of Austin.
Oh, wow.
And I just remember, because back doing all the research, they were like, hey, someone's offering, this first band's trying to like sell their EP.
Yes.
And I was like, dude, it was $7.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah. So I transferred the Bitcoin, and a week later, I had the album showed up at my doorstep, because, I'm still kind of old school. I have a lot of records.
Yeah.
And so that was the first thing. And then recently, I paid a guy who's doing some design work for me for my studio in Indonesia. I paid him for some plans, $150 in Bitcoin.
Nice.
But that's what he wanted, because he's loving it.
Nice.
He's totally into it. And he's relatively new, like the last year or two. It's just amazing to me how many new people are getting into it.
A lot of new people. And it's been nice to see that. Like I said, I have more friends and family asking me about this. I remember one day I was sitting in church and somebody started talking about Bitcoin. And I just was like, oh, what are you guys talking about? Bitcoin? What? And here, we're just sitting in church and all of a sudden people start talking about Bitcoin. So it's nice to see that more and more people are talking about it and at least engaging in it and sparking up conversations about it. Because I think that's important, especially in this day and age where there's a little less trust in banks and the government, especially after the financial crisis and whatnot, and subprime mortgages and all that. So it's nice that people are discussing it more because, like I said, it's decentralized. It kind of gets out of the politics, financial realm that we're used to, and it brings it into your own hands.
Power back to the people.
Yes.
And that's it. What do you say to the detractors, the people that are so super skeptical? I so many people I've talked to since over the holidays, really, when Bitcoin was up, and it's like, well, as soon as your grandma asks, it's time to sell. It's like, well, yeah, maybe that was true with a stock tip back in the day, but I feel like the crypto community isn't looking at it that way.
No, we're not looking at it that way. We don't look at it like it's fake money, as people see Bitcoin as like, oh, that fake money. It's like, no, it's not fake money. It's actually something you can use to buy things. And so, there's a lot of skeptical people out there, but with anything, there is going to be those skeptics. And you can either, when you talk to them and explain to them about Bitcoin, they're either going to accept it or they're not. But at least I know I've done my part in trying to educate people about Bitcoin.
And yourself, most importantly, because if you're doing it, you need to know that you've done your due diligence in any investment.
Definitely. And so, because when I opened my first Bitcoin, I just opened the wallet. I didn't quite invest in that point. Like I said, my friend actually sent me $1 worth of Bitcoin and said, welcome. And that's when I was like, okay, what did I just get myself into? And so that's when I did. But you don't have to do your due diligence just to open a wallet. You can just open the wallet and do that due diligence afterwards, which is what I like about Bitcoin, because you don't have to fully invest in it to become a part of it, become part of the movement.
Well, and my best advice to people has always been, I said, well, do you gamble? And they're like, well, yeah, every now and then a little bit maybe. So, okay, well, if in your investments, everything's a gamble. But if you have that tolerance, like, I'll put $20 on a football game once in a while. Like, even if you just have that little bit of tolerance for it, you can do that with Bitcoin and say, I'm part of this. Or, when I say, hey, you like go to Vegas? Like, yeah, I love Vegas. Like, we'll take that money you were going to spend on the hotel, the chips, the plane ride, the show. You're not going to have a fun weekend, but man, you're gambling. You're in the Bitcoin space. Have fun with it if you have that tolerance for it. Yeah. But see, personally, I come from a different place where I'm more of the nerd. I love the blockchain. I love the decentralized database completely. I love the decentralized currency, but I also love decentralized databases, because what that means is, when you think of any database that's out there, now all of a sudden those can't be hacked anymore. Yeah. And when you think about the things that we're going to be doing in the future, driverless cars and things like that, where we're going to be relying on not just network connectivity, but we're going to be relying on databases, and you don't want those to be hackable.
Correct.
And apparently, right now, as far as we can tell, because of Satoshi Nakamoto, whatever his name was, if it's even a him or a they, from what we're learning is this is the modern way. This is the next way to create a database that's safe, secure, and protected.
Yes.
And I love that part of it, which is why I believe in many coins. So I'm into the different tokens on top of the Ethereum blockchain and things like that. So that's the super nerd in me. That's why I'm behind it. I get the other reasons, the libertarian, free from centralization. I get it all. But I think everybody should research and find their own reason to either do it or not do it.
Agreed.
You know.
I agree with you there.
Long term, dude.
Long term.
Well, thanks for spending some time with us. I appreciate it.
Oh, you're welcome.
It's very cool.
Thank you.
We'll see who starts you. Maybe next thing you'll be at HEB and then whoop, hit your Bitcoin and keep it moving. It'd be awesome.
Yes, that would be.
All right.
Awesome. Thank you.